right, everybody, welcome to another marketing strategy session. I'm your host, Mr. Marketology, the smartest working man in grow business, and I have the pleasure and honor of having Joe Applebaum on the call, and he is the man with all the excitement. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I am so happy to be here today.
Cool. Now, you're the guy that takes entrepreneurs' goals and turns them into passions that
Yeah.
they can actually execute, and you have fun doing it. Like one of the things we see that you have fun with that we talked about a little bit earlier is the bike in the background.
Yeah.
That is a signature Joe. And if you go to his Instagram page, you see somebody that's having fun. A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I'm having a blast. I am having a blast. Life is amazing.
Yes, yes. And I need to get out and enjoy it a little bit like you. I mean, you see him doing a lot of things and enjoying it, and his company has fun too. You see his team having fun and him having family time and having fun. So that's important because we're going into that talk about passion. I mean, Joe says it's all about that passion. And so, if you're just doing it and you're just grinding through and the only thing that motivates you, or should we say mojovates you, is
Yeah.
is the money, then wow, you're not living. So Joe, talk about that mojovation.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's so many people out there that are just doing the do. They're like breaking bread every single day. They're trying to make a living. And they don't realize that unless they tap into a deeper inner purpose, they're not going to feel fulfillment. You might get success, but the ultimate failure is getting to a certain level of success in your life and not feeling fulfilled. That's the ultimate failure because, I know plenty of billionaires are on their sixth marriage, or I know people who have made it. They've accomplished some significant goals, and then they have killed themselves because they realize there's nothing else to accomplish in life. They've already accomplished it all. So the question is, how can you stay passionate and excited about every single day? Because we only have the present now. Later, the present will no longer exist. Tomorrow, the present doesn't exist. Yesterday, the present doesn't exist. The present only exists in the now. So the question is, how can you be in the now right now and not worry about what you need to do in a week, in a month, in a year? I'm a big proponent of planning. I think that hope is a great thing, but hope is not a great strategy. So you got to have a great marketing strategy. You got to have a great life strategy in place, but then get into the present now and stop stressing out about all the things that you cannot control. There are two things I tell everyone that you could have 100% control over if you learn how to do it, and that's your thoughts and your feelings. And if you can get in touch with being in a better and a more beautiful state every single moment, by learning the step-by-step process that you need to take in order to get your body and your mind into that state, then you're going to live a more beautiful life. You're going to live a great, passionate, excited life. And if you're in sales or you're in marketing and you are more passionate and more enthusiastic and more yourself and more self-confident, you're going to be able to connect with more people that are like you. And life is all about the relationships in our life. And if you're not being authentic, you're not going to have authentic relationships.
Wow, that is a lot of great wisdom because honestly, that's something that I've been working on over the years. That connection that actually getting in touch with myself. I mean, that feeling. I have a friend and coach that always asks me this one question, and it used to really be like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? And I was like, here we go with these feelings. You're like, how did that make you
I used to hate that question. I used to think that the only thing that a therapist knows how to do is ask you, how does that make you feel? That's all they know how to do. You walk in, you talk, they're not even listening to you. You're yapping. 10 minutes go by and they're like, so how did that make you feel? I'm like, didn't you hear anything that I said?
Yeah. And I'd be like, it didn't make me feel good. You can hear it in my voice. And she would always ask that. She was like, okay, today you did what again? And I said, well, I did this. How did that make you feel? And I was like, I don't know. Especially as I guess a man, you're not really taught to be in touch with your feelings. So you're like, I don't know. I mean, I just did what I was supposed to do today. And so that is something that's very good and wise that you shared as far as controlling your thoughts and your feelings. Now, let's start with the thoughts. All right. So with so much going on and so many people in your ear, what is one technique that you found that helps controlling your thoughts?
So there's something called focus or attention, right? So our attention that we have, our conscious attention that we have, can get pulled in many directions by environment, by stimuli, by things that happen in our environment. As a marketer, that I am looking to get people's attention, either by interrupting them or by them seeking out something, inbound marketing, by pulling or by pushing things onto people that they actually need.
Yeah.
And so I have to study the psychology of focus and the psychology of attention. And during that journey, what I realized is that you could either consciously control your attention, and it's kind of like a muscle. Focus is a muscle. The more you use the muscle, the better you become at it. The more you consciously are focusing on learning how to focus on something very specific, the more you'll be able to do it in the future. So I always say start with your breath. Start with focusing on your breath. You'll be like, what does that even mean? What do you mean focus on your breath? Well, the fact is there's one thing that you need more than food. There's one thing that you need more than water. I mean, water is really important. I tell everybody that a 5% drop in hydration is a 30% drop in energy. But when it comes to oxygen, what you need to do is in your life, you need to have oxygen as a minimal viable product. And that is what you need. If you don't have food for like 6 months, you could still live. If you don't have water for 6 weeks, potentially you can still live in a very dehydrated state, but you could still live. But if you don't have oxygen for 3 minutes, you're done. You're done. So the fact that you're alive is because you are breathing, because you have oxygen. And the second you stop that, you stop having life. Life ends at that point. So if you could learn how to focus on your breath and realize, hang on a second, dude, you know you're breathing? Do you know that you're breathing? And you start focusing on that, then you could start focusing on your thoughts, because you're now channeling your thoughts into the present. You see, a lot of people try to gain control of their emotions, but getting control of your emotions, it's very hard to control something that's kind of like all over the place. So the key is to get your thoughts focused on your breath initially. Focus your thoughts on your breath initially and realize that you're actually breathing right now. And then say, okay, now where do I want to take my thoughts today? Where do I want to channel? So I want to channel my thoughts to my child. I say, hello, child. How are you? Thank you very much. And I come here, give me a hug and a kiss.
Hey. Does he want to say something? Oh, he's not.
He's got to get to work. He's got to get to school. What's up?
He does.
All right, well, tell mommy I'm in the middle of a podcast. Okay, so that is the situation till 11 o'clock. Tell her till 11 o'clock. Okay, I don't know. Figure it out. All right, let's rock and roll. Let's do this.
We had the cameo star appearance. So
we got a cameo star appearance, yeah.
That is great. So that makes a lot of sense. I mean, controlling your thoughts and knowing, starting with breath. I mean, that's something that they teach in meditation, is to, focus on your breath. And with your breath, then other thoughts will come in, but refocus on your breath. And I know for myself, sometimes I will actually catch myself holding my breath. Is that weird, Joe? Is that weird? Because sometimes I'll just catch myself and I'm like, wow, I'm not even inhaling. What's going on?
What happens is that when we are physically stressed out, when we're physically stressed out about a deadline, about a project, about a client, about something, we're not stressed out because something happened. We're physically stressed out because we're not breathing. Now, what's happening in our environment is making us like lock up and not breathe, and that's why we technically feel stressed.
Okay.
But the actual stress doesn't come from anything that happened outside of you. So this is why it's so important for you to control your thoughts, because if you could stop creating meaning to everything that's happening, because automatically your brain's going to say, well, if I don't do this project, then this is going to happen. And then if my son comes in and he's on the video, then this is going to happen. And then you stop breathing. And before you know it, 3 minutes pass and you haven't really breathed. And now you're getting all stressed out, and your brain, the energy of your brain gets diminished significantly. So you have less focus power, less attention power, less decision power, and you start making choices that are based on emotion, not based on logic. And when you start making choices based on emotion, sometimes bad things can happen. Like when you start getting really anxious and it turns into anger. You know, anger is a secondary emotion. It's not a primary emotion. Anger actually happens as a result of a lot of anxiety. So if you can control your anxiety, you'll be able to control your anger. This is something I needed to learn the hard way, because I used to get very angry. I used to get really upset. And once I got angry, I couldn't control myself. I had road rage issues. I had all types of issues that I didn't know how to control. And I thought, how can I stop the anger? I want to stop the anger. But you can't stop the anger. You could only diminish the anxiety. Once it becomes anger, you're done. You got to walk away.
Wow. So is it that New York in you that gave you the road rage? I know, you know, New York and Atlanta, that traffic can make you mad. In LA, that traffic can really upset you. So,
Well, it has to do with control. You know, you can have road rage anywhere. I've been in Kentucky and I saw people having major road rage in Kentucky where there's only one car on the road. They're angry at themselves.
They're like, I'm not moving fast enough.
Oh, yeah. And they start like banging themselves up, cutting themselves off. No, but, you know, the reality is people get angry about different things. And ultimately, if you want to live a beautiful life, you need to learn how not to be stressed out, how to be in the zone, in the flow. I just wrote an article on LinkedIn about sales enablement and the 7 questions you need to ask yourself in order for you to be able to 10x your current sales team, so you don't have to go out and hire an additional 8 to 10 to 20 sales reps. Instead, you can focus on answering these 7 questions to be able to learn how to increase and have more sales enablement for the current people and 10x them by, you know, things like email automation and having a better marketing strategy and creating assets for them and lead magnets. And I ask all these interesting questions that sales and marketing leaders need to listen to, because it's not about getting answers. It's about asking the right questions. And most of us are asking the wrong questions. So even if we get the answer, we're still not going to be happy.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So the second part, we talked about controlling your thoughts, controlling your breathing. When you talk about controlling your emotions, so the feelings, I would say, those feelings, is it easy, I guess, to change your feelings? So for instance, if you're feeling that anxiety and you're feeling depressed, is it easy to identify that and make that change? Or is it something that like a cold, work its way out? It eventually over time, it works its way out.
Your emotions will always find a way to bubble up and to do things. The question is, are you in control or is circumstance in control? That's the question. Are you in control of your life, or is circumstances, everybody else controlling you? Now, oftentimes so you're like, oh, but look what they did, but look what they did, but look what they said, but look what happened. You know what I say to that? I say, so what? So what? I don't care what happened in your life. I don't care who said what to you or who did what to you. At the end of the day, is if you learn the science, not the art, the science of how to control your emotions, you need 3 things. Number 1 is you need awareness, because if you're not aware that your emotions are controlling you, you're not going to be able to take control. You can't take control of something you're not aware of, right? If you're not aware of the temperature and you're just not aware, you're not going to know to change that, or you're just not aware, right? Awareness is the main thing. So you got to get aware of, what are the feelings that I'm feeling, and do I want to feel these feelings, and do I not want to feel these feelings? That's step number 1. So you got to become aware. So if you're feeling joy and gratitude and bliss, and you're feeling like incredible peace in your life, you want to feel more of that, right?
Yes.
So even if it's coming from circumstance, you're fine with that. You're fine with joy. You're fine with pleasure. The question is, when you're feeling depressed, angry, doubtful, when you're feeling frustrated and you want to go from frustration to motivation, the question is, what do you do? How do you change that? And you need to get awareness around 3 things. Number 1, awareness around your body, your physical body. So if you're sitting with your arms crossed, all closed up like this, leaning forward and looking down, chances are you're going to have more emotions that are around sadness and frustration and like closed up emotion.
Okay.
But if you open yourself up and you do the Superwoman pose, or you do the Black Panther pose, or you get out there, right? I watched the Black Panther. It was a freaking amazing movie. I highly recommend everybody watch it.
Yes.
But you get out there and you open your arms up and you look up to the sky and said, I want to get motivated. And you like let one loose. You're just like unstoppable, right? And you're open, your body starts feeling more confident because you start sending serotonin to your body. Your body starts getting the confidence hormone, and that confidence hormone makes you feel more confident. So if you're in a meeting and you're not feeling confident and you're not feeling happy, start with your becoming aware. How's my body? Am I like sitting back, like all relaxed and all closed up and like looking down? Or am I feeling like the king of the freaking world? Am I the queen of the hills? Am I standing up, leaning forward and saying, bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it. Yes, 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 yes. Are you like into that? Are you getting into it? That's number one. Number two is, what are you focused on? Are you focused on the problem or the solution? If you're focused on the problem, you're going to get stuck. If you're focused on what's not working, you're going to be stuck. So automatically, we always focus on the problem because we want to survive. But you need to go from survive to thrive. You need to go from survive to thrive to take your life to the next level. So that's really important for you to realize that you must learn how to focus on the solution, on what you can do about it, not what happened to you, but what happened for you. That's the second step. And the third step you need to become aware of. So the first step is your body. The second step is your focus. The third step is your language. What words are you using as incantations? Are you using I can't-tations? I can't? Or are you using I can? Are you using I can, I will, I must? Or I'll try. You know, I'll try is pretty weak. Are you using weak words or using powerful words? What are you physically saying? And those words, like if you're saying, oh, I'm so angry, I'm so frustrated, life sucks, all these words, even if you're using a lot of passion, you're going to be focused on that. So you got to change your words. You got to use words that are aligned with what feelings you want to feel. If you start saying every single morning, I feel amazing, life is so great. Now, even if your life is not that great, you know what's going to end up happening is you're going to start looking for proof that life is that great. And when somebody asks you, why is your life so great? You're going to have to find reasons why it's so great, and your life's going to start becoming great because you're going to have to find those reasons. So when somebody says, Joe, how you doing? What do I say? Amazing. Life is amazing. Incredible. Unbelievable. And that's what ends up happening in my life. Does this make sense?
It does. It does. You know, they say words are power. And it's funny. On the way here for our interview, I told myself I wasn't going to be late. Right. So, of course, there was traffic. Atlanta always has traffic. But I said, I'm going to get here by 8:30. And do you know I pulled in the parking lot by 8:30? It was 8:30 on the dot. And you know, power is in the word, and unfortunately, we don't understand that, and we start, like you say, focusing on the problem, and we start saying, "This is happening to me," and "Oh, I wish I had what somebody else had. I wish this was happening," and you know, it becomes something that starts to manifest. And I have to work on that myself. I mean, I'm learning right now because there is a lot of things that have been habits. I think that we've been trained over the years and not focusing on it, not being aware, like you said, that first step, you don't even know that you are pretty much sabotaging yourself and not putting yourself in a good position. So
yeah, no, that's very, very powerful. So focusing on the solution is the key. Then after you have awareness, then you need to have a strategy to be able to continue to live your life this way. So think about your skills, think about the books that you read, think about where you put your attention, think about your attitudes. So that is how you build up your strategy. And then finally, you need accountability. Who are you hanging around with? How are you expressing yourself? And then ultimately, what level of energy are you creating for yourself? Look, it begins with water. I always say water increases your energy. So if you did not drink enough water today, you're not going to have this level of energy. Simple as that. I already had 50 ounces of water today, and it's 9 o'clock.
Wow. Yeah, I've only had 33. I need to get my water up. But yeah, I definitely have heard that from a lot of health experts that says that you should have half of your body weight in water a day.
Yeah, half of your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you need to have 100 ounces. And 100 ounces is not easy to knock down 3 liters. It's not easy to knock down 3 liters. So you have to start first thing in the morning. I say as soon as you get up, have at least 16 to 20 ounces of water the second you wake up so that
Okay.
your body can start working that water and get rehydrated from a whole night of breathing. Did you know that when you exhale, you lose hydration? You know that when
No.
you sleep, you sweat and you lose hydration? So the whole night you're exhaling for 8 hours and you're losing hydration the whole night. And that's why you need to rehydrate first thing in the morning. And I call it hyperhydration. You need to
Mhm.
really get it in there so you fire up your metabolism.
Interesting. I did not know that. I'm gonna start drinking first thing in the morning then. I just start rolling over and take a drink, meditate a little, and then get the day going versus just jumping out and
Yeah.
getting the day started.
And a lot of people don't realize that water actually wakes you up. So if you're feeling groggy and tired, a lot of it has to do with you being dehydrated. So if you rehydrate, all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I'm awake. This is amazing. I can't believe it. And I learned this from a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, which
Mhm.
teaches you different ways, strategies to get up before 8 a.m. I used to be a chronic waking up after 9 a.m. And this morning I was up at 4.
Wow. I need to work on that. So, I mean, you shared a lot, and with people in business, you a lot of times focus on just business strategies. You don't focus on yourself in order to be better at being you, so you can be better at the business. And that's very, very important, because if you aren't your best you, it's hard for you to actually run your business the best way you can. So yeah, that's very helpful. And how did you come up with Mojovation? That
So
is so neat.
I started doing videos online, just walking down the street and doing videos. So initially I called them street talks because I was walking down Brooklyn and somebody came with it. And I just wanted to express myself. And people said, I want more Joe. I want more Joe. I want more Joe. And I was like, you want Mojo? Yo, 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 I'm the Mojo Pro, the kind of CEO that make the cash just flow. Don't walk through my door unless you're sure you know that you got a business and you're ready to grow. And so I break it down for people that want the Mojo.
Wow, that is so neat. That is so neat right there. So you actually have your coaching. So, that is definitely there. But you have actually a workshop that you put on from time to time to help people, right?
Yeah, so I have a marketing strategy boot camp. So if you
Mhm.
go to ajaxunion.com/bootcamp, you can learn more about the marketing strategy bootcamp. What I realize is that 95% of business owners are doing less than $1 million in revenue. And the ones that are doing more, oftentimes they don't have a written, documented digital marketing strategy. So I said
Mhm.
there are 3 simple steps to create a digital marketing strategy. First, you need to set your goals. And a lot of people don't know how to set their marketing goals, their sales goals, their marketing budget, all that. Then you need to figure out your target, which is your target persona, your value proposition, the 5 C's, the works. I mean, you're like the expert at that. So
Mhm.
really figuring out the crux of your marketing strategy, which is your target persona, your value proposition. And then the third part is your messaging, which I call your solution, which is understanding your authority, understanding your brand promise, your positioning statement, your tagline, like figuring all that stuff out, your messaging, which is the foundation of your marketing. So if you don't have this stuff written down and shared with your sales team, with your marketing team, with all the different collaborators in your company, with your vendors, it's going to be very hard for people to help you get to your goal. You got to write it down, because if it's just an idea in your head, everybody has an idea. So I have this 3-hour boot camp, which is virtual. Go to ajaxunion.com/bootcamp. You could sign up, and there's handouts. And at the end, you could have a written digital marketing strategy, and it comes with a Facebook group and everything. So that's what I'm doing from a digital agency standpoint to
Mhm.
support small and medium-sized businesses to learn how to create their very own written digital marketing strategy onto one page. So it doesn't have to be this 50-page document. It's a
Okay.
one-page document. It's really simple. But in terms of like what I'm passionate about personally as a coach, for hungry entrepreneurs that want to go from frustration to motivation, I teach people 2 things. I have one workshop on how to set goals and
Mhm.
be productive and like time management. And I have one workshop on networking, how to go from a schmo to a networking pro.
Ah,
Yeah.
ah. So you would say a goal isn't I just want to make money.
No, a goal is not I want to make money. That's kind of more like a hope or a dream. A
Yeah.
goal needs to be very defined. So you need to define what your revenue needs to look like, what your cost of goods sold, what your net profit is, how much of it is going to be reoccurring, how many offerings you have, how many accounts you have. They say 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your clients. So figuring out where the 20% is and figuring out who the right type of clients you want to get. What is your lead-in product? What is your back-end product? Who is the most ideal customer for you? And then what does it cost to acquire a customer? What's the lifetime value of a customer? Like, you got to figure these numbers out so that you can create a cost per lead, a cost per click. Like, you can forecast out your marketing, create a budget, understand what you could afford to pay for a client. That's what a goal is to me. So for me, I want to have, if I want to have 200 webinar registrations and I want to be able to pay $5 per webinar registration, because I know that for every 200 that I get X amount of people into my funnel, which means X amount of people to buy my boot camp, which means X amount of people to buy my middle end product, which means X amount of people to buy my back end product. So I know how much I could invest in each customer, in each potential prospect to get in the door. You have to understand what is a qualified lead worth to you. You know, if I asked you, what's a qualified lead worth to you? Most people that are savvy in marketing won't be able to answer that question. If you can answer that question and it's much more than your competitors, if it's worth more than your competitors, then the person who could afford the most for a lead wins the game today, both on Facebook and on AdWords and on email. If you could afford to pay $10,000 for a customer, $20,000 for a customer, and you know that, and it's much more than you could afford to pay than your competitors, you win the game. You won it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, Joe, I thank you because we're coming up and you had a hard stop. So we are 2 minutes into the hard stop. So let them know where they can reach you. You've already let them know where they can actually come to the workshop. Let them know where they can reach you. And I thank you personally for taking time out this early morning to speak with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would suggest everybody go to www.ajaxunion.com/webinar. And you could sign up for a free webinar where I kind of spend an hour working with you to show you the basics of how to write your own marketing strategy. And then after that, if you're interested in not doing the boot camp with us, it's a 3-hour boot camp that you can do, and you can watch a bunch of videos and then kind of sit down with your team and get it all done. But I suggest you go to the webinar, which is ajaxunion.com/webinar. If you want to find out more about my videos and my coaching, and I have a weekly newsletter, go to joeapfelbaum.com, or if you're not sure how to spell that, just Google it. I'm the only Joe Apfelbaum around. I have,
and it's also down in the corner. You can see it there down in the corner, left corner.
And you can go there. You can check out my Facebook group. I have a Facebook group with hundreds of entrepreneurs that I'm doing 1,000 minutes of Mojovation this year, so feel free to join my Facebook group. Look, at the end of the day, I'm here to add value. So whatever I can do to add the maximum amount of value to your life, I do that. And I do that through being active on social media, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So look me up and connect with me, reach out to me, and let me know that you heard me here, and let me know what your number one takeaway is. Just pick one sentence that you got, and then at me and Jeff on Twitter or on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, and just mention us and let us know that you got some value today, because that's really the key.
Yes, that is. My biggest takeaway is to breathe and drink water in first thing in the morning. So those are my two biggest things. Thank you so much. And one more thing, everyone, go to Joe's Instagram page. See this man have fun. Go to his Instagram page. You'll enjoy it. So everybody, this has been a marketing strategy session. Hopefully you've gained a lot of insight and knowledge. And please share this, comment, let us know that we're adding value to you, your life, and your business. Take care. This is Mr. Marketology and the Marketing Strategy Session.
Yay, we did it. Stay motivated.
Cool.